here it is right here. God's Pharmacy. Black walnut for raging fungal infections, 20 types of sage for colds and flus, fennel for the ulcers, wormwood for the liver
pharmacy
flush.
sign, right?
No
But
pharmacy sign. It's all here. This is just one of the areas that I could come to any time in my clinic where I needed healing plants.
So let's talk about herbs
Right.
so everybody knows how to make their best choices to heal themselves and their family. In fact, what I'd like to do now is bring out 10 herbs that if everybody could have in their house, these 10 herbs, they can heal anything. They'll have all the herbal knowledge
Like
they
the
need.
10 Commandments?
That's right. These are the 10 herbs. I'll even give them a couple bonus ones, but these are the 10 herbs for no family, no household to be without. Sam, most of my patients thought they could never learn enough to know how to use herbs. They thought they had to learn. There's 3.5 million species of herbs, and they thought they had to know all of them.
I was feeling inadequate.
Oh, yeah.
I see a book, I go, oh, there's another herb.
You buy an herbal book, and it has 400, 500, 1,000 herbs in it, and everybody thinks that they have to know this much, and you know.
And if you don't, I'll just go to the drugstore. The hell with it all.
I know, or die. If everybody knew just 10 herbs well, 10 herbs,
that's great.
just well, and most of these herbs either grow in their backyard or they could grow them in their backyard or they're wild within 50 miles of their house. There's some herb that they can get here. If they knew these 10 well, they could do everything they needed to do and have miraculous healings. So I'd like to show you some of these herbs so everybody can know what they need to have in their house.
Hey, I want to know for my house.
Yeah.
I see Sandy over there in the corner of my eye. Come here. You need to know this too.
Hey, Sandy.
Come here, honey.
Hi, Charlie.
Hey.
I wasn't going to miss this.
Oh, good, good. You might be with a one-out finding half these things I'm talking about.
Very, very likely.
Educate us, Richard.
Yeah. Okay. Number one.
Well, that's important now.
Cayenne. Cayenne is the #1 herb that everybody has to have in their house. Not only is cayenne the greatest, most important first aid herb, it could save their life or the lives of a family member. It's also an herb that can be used to stimulate your circulation. And remember, I've already talked about how blockage is the cause behind every disease.
Underneath it all.
That's right. That any area that gets sick is blocked off from blood flow and circulation. So we need to stimulate the circulation of the body. So what everybody needs to have in their house is cayenne. We have cayenne peppers of all shapes and sizes here. These are jalapenos. Most of these you can find in your grocery store. These are fresh Thai chili peppers here and habaneros. Over here we have some serranos, and you can see them.
Well, those are the hottest.
Oh, these are pretty hot. These are pretty hot. They're even going orange and red.
Do you mind?
No.
Oh, no.
Oh, daring man. Daring man.
I can take it.
Do we have any water? No, we don't have water either.
Here are other types of chili peppers, nice hot red peppers. So people can have fresh peppers in their house.
But they're not fresh all year round. So
No.
what do we do?
Produce departments they are.
Yeah, you know.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
I do the shopping, remember? You can get apples year-round. You can get oranges
we can do
year-round.
it.
So people need to,
All right.
ask their greengrocer if they can supply them with the hottest cayennes. The hotter, the more medicinal. B, if their greengrocer doesn't have them, go to an ethnic area of town, somewhere where there's people that are living, maybe Africans, Mexicans, people that are living equatorially. They have these peppers, they use them in their food naturally. Another way that's important is having a preparation of cayenne, like a cayenne tincture.
You're going to show us?
Yeah, available. So they can have it immediately, because there are some advantage to having a preparation. one of the things you can do is if someone is seriously ill, cayenne is, think of the blood when you think of cayenne.
Okay.
First off, if someone's having a heart attack, if someone's having a stroke, if they've gone into shock, you can bring them right out of it with cayenne pepper. I had a man come to my clinic, and this man came into my clinic, and I didn't know he had arrived. And I asked my secretary out here in Malibu at my clinic, I said, has Mr. Smith arrived? And she said, he's late. And about a half hour later, I said, have you seen him yet? And she said, no. And she peeked out and she goes, well, I see his car in the driveway. We went out to his car, and he had literally died. His heart had stopped, his face was gray, his lips were blue. And I saw he had had a heart attack and died in his car. I drug him. I drugged this man by his shirt and coat right out through the window of the car so fast. I always had a bottle of cayenne in my pocket. I started putting numerous dropperfuls of cayenne in his mouth. Before his heart even started beating, his face turned red. It dilated the blood vessels. His face turned red. I started CPR. They took this man to the hospital. They couldn't believe that he was able to be revived without a defibrillator. So right here, you have a defibrillator in a bottle. That's cayenne tincture.
That's something to remember.
Oh, it's amazing stuff. Also, if someone's had a stroke, I had more than one patient have a stroke in my office while they were there. They were in such bad health. Cayenne immediately stops the bleeding, reduces the blood pressure.
Absolutely incredible.
Oh, in the old days, they used to pack this in bullet wounds in the Wild West to stop the bleeding. If someone cuts themselves, they can put cayenne powder right on the wound, stops the bleeding. You'll see in 2 or 3 days, you probably won't even have a scar on the area, and it'll be healed.
No kidding.
Cayenne pepper, whenever you're thinking of an emergency, someone's cut themselves, you can put it on the wound, put it in your mouth.
But
heart attack, stroke.
We're going to have this in our house from now on then. And,
That's
but what do
right.
we do with these? You said put the powder in the wound. Do we?
That's right. You can chop these up and just dry them. Just lay them out on your counter or on a piece of pure cotton cloth and just let them dry. Or someone has a food dehydrator, you can let them dry.
Okay, so we dry them.
And then you just put them in a little coffee grinder, one of those electric ones, and you can make your own cayenne
And keep it in little containers.
Absolutely.
Keep it there.
What about if people start to use some of these herbs? A lot of people really enjoy cooking.
Yeah.
And start to get healthier every meal
Absolutely.
they eat, and
That's
start incorporating them into your diet and food.
You can never use enough cayenne pepper. You can put it into your food. You can put the powder on your food. You can put a pinch of the powder in your mouth. You can use the fresh peppers in your food. There's a lot of ways to use it.
Don't save it till you're dead.
No, just adding it to your daily life is going to increase your circulation. And remember, we talked about prevention, keeping you healthy before something goes wrong.
You know, Richard, I'm thinking a tincture of this, wouldn't that be great to keep in the car, maybe in the office? Because I'm not just thinking about me. What if you see someone fall to the ground?
I learned as a doctor, I never went anywhere without a bottle of the tincture in my pocket.
Even when you went out socially?
In my right pocket, a bottle of cayenne tincture. In the glove box of the car, cayenne tincture, cayenne powder in a little Ziploc baggie.
Okay.
In the trunk of the car, in the back of your motorcycle.
It's part of your
in your
part of
office
your life.
drawer. Absolutely. This is one that you're going to use the most in any emergency. You want to have it everywhere with you. Everywhere. Yeah.
Okay. We'll do it.
I like to do things myself.
Yeah.
Okay. How can I grow these? I mean, I live, in Virginia.
Sure. Well, do you have an agricultural degree?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, we're out of luck. Oh, gee.
Absolutely. They're so easy. In fact, you don't have to grow them. They'll grow themselves.
Well, what about if you live in an apartment? Can you do this in a sunny
In
window
a pot
box?
and a sunny window. These are in the Solanaceae family. They're one of the easiest plants to grow. They grow rapidly.
Oh, that's great.
All types of peppers. So you can grow your own chilies. They're beautiful.
We could
they're
grow some of these maybe,
ornamentals.
huh?
They're beautiful. Oh, absolutely. Any one of these you can grow easily at home. 80 to 90 days, boom, you have your own chili peppers. You could even keep them going all year round.
And what do you think would happen if every family in America listened to what you're saying today, and they really did it? They got cayenne and they used it.
Probably save somewhere between 200,000 and 500,000 lives a year. Absolutely. Number one cause of death, heart disease, secondary strokes, some type of blood flow blockage. We'd be saving our friends and relatives.
This should almost be the American fruit.
Absolutely. It should be part of the American flag. There should be a little chili pepper on the side of it.
But I think a lot of people, my problem, and I think a lot of people's problem, is their upbringing was not peppers. It was
That's
not
right.
hot, spicy
That's right.
things. And at first, Sam had to get me into this.
That's
you know,
right.
like just 2 or 3 drops, okay,
Yeah,
honey?
yeah.
Or just a little. It was
Yeah.
just you put in your scrambled
Start
eggs.
I couldn't stand the timidity.
If you're not used to it,
You get used
start
to
out
it.
with a
And so
little
she
bit.
started a couple drops.
You
And what are you
started with a
up to
little
now
bit.
in that tincture?
Oh, well, now it's dropperfuls.
Yeah.
But my
She doesn't count
point
drops.
is,
That's right.
your taste buds change and you acquire
right.
a taste
So
for
She's right.
tasty
some
food.
people say, well, I don't like hot, spicy food. I don't.
I said
one
that.
drop. Take
I
one
said
drop,
that.
a pinch, and you work your way up. You work your way up. With
And
it.
then you really don't even want to eat bland food.
No,
You
no.
don't.
Oh, once you get
change.
used to this, once you get used to the way you feel. I mean, I used to
Yes.
have so much cayenne.
Yes.
This is one of the herbs I used to save my own life. I used to have cayenne pepper. My beard was red. There was so much in it. And that's when Dr. Christopher and others started calling me Professor Cayenne because I had it all over the place. In fact, I just had it on my hands recently when I went to the bathroom. And I caution people about doing that because it can get very warm in parts of your body if you're cutting and chopping these peppers and then you itch your eye or touch another sensitive area. So these are very hot. That's why they're medicinal.
You know
Well,
what?
let me
Go
give
ahead.
you a side effect. You're
Yeah.
talking about side effects. I don't have a disease, and a lot of people are ill, but everyone who has a disease has low energy,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
This is magic.
Yeah.
Energy.
Yeah.
If I could call this another word, I
Yeah.
would call this energy.
Yeah.
Vitamins
absolutely.
don't work for her.
No,
We
they
tried
don't.
all this stuff.
They
okay?
don't.
Yeah.
Energy, and it's instant, and it
And
lasts.
you know what it's called? Blood. This
Yes.
is helping the
Yeah.
blood that carries the oxygen and the nutrients that you could be dead in seconds without. It's carrying it through your whole body.
You know what she does I think is real cute? And this is her Coca-Cola. When we go to a restaurant,
Yeah.
she gets a glass of spring water.
Yeah.
She puts this in so it looks like some kind of,
Yeah.
like a beverage.
Yeah.
That's what she has.
And do you know, even Coca-Cola used to be made with cocaine and cola nut. In other words, that was the original idea,
That's
was
what
something
gave you
to
a
give
kick.
you a lift. Okay,
this is
here's a way you can
exactly
do
what
it without
that
breaking
does.
down your body. But there's another herb here too. There's no replacement for cayenne. Period.
Number
Okay?
one.
Number
Number
one.
one.
But another great common plant that people can buy that is a great circulatory stimulant. Now, I'm not talking heart attacks and strokes here, but general circulation stimulant. A great one is ginger root.
We love this. Every morning, Richard, I started last 2 weeks. She grinds it up for me, and we make a pot of tea, and then we refresh it.
This plant is a blessing.
And it's different.
It
Yeah.
Cayenne.
feels
Well-
good drinking it.
Yeah.
It just
It
is
warms
an,
you.
Yeah,
Ginger
It's a
root.
great way to start the
But
day.
it's not a rocket
the
blast
old
like
herbalist
cayenne
said
pepper,
that
okay?
cayenne goes to your heart and your head and moves the circulation outward. The old herbalist said that ginger goes to the hands and the feet and the extremities and helps it come back. So you have a dynamic duo here. If someone has a circulation problem, here's 2 herbs to use.
Oh.
Also, you'll even go into ski resorts and they have these powders for cold hands and feet that you sprinkle in your gloves and ski boots. It's powdered cayenne and ginger root. That's all it is.
Ginger.
Just touching your skin, this increases the circulation and warms up those extremities. But anybody, I have thousands of letters from people that just said, I don't have a terminal disease, but I have terminal cold hands and feet. And these 2 herbs.
That's her problem.
Yeah, cured
It's
me.
a constitutional thing,
Yes,
right?
that's
Cold
right.
hands and
That's
Because
cold
sometimes
feet.
when I need like ice on my forehead, she'll just put her
I
hand
do.
up
I
there.
say,
right.
oh,
I go,
the
oh,
hot
that
and
feels
cold.
better.
I'm the cold
Yeah.
treatment.
That's why they designed that new BMW that on one side has separate heating and air conditioning than the other side.
Yeah.
So one person can have the heater on while the other person has the
Right.
air conditioning on. You don't need that BMW if you have some cayenne and ginger. You can both equalize your circulation.
Now, I found, Richard, with the ginger, this is the best, what you said, the root to keep in the house. I've
Oh.
tried fresh, organic,
Yeah.
powder.
Yeah.
This is the strongest.
Yeah, ginger. Why settle for less when you can have a
And
fresh
you can
plant
always
like this
get
around?
this.
Oh, you can get it anywhere. This is a big part again in ethnic cooking, Japanese cooking, Chinese cooking. When I go to China or even to Chinatowns, one thing you see in every store, barrels full of it, whether it's the herb store or the grocery store, big
I'm starting to
barrels
travel
of
with me.
ginger
I throw
root.
it in my traveling bag.
Oh, I'll tell
I don't
you
want to
something.
wait to go to a grocery store when I land.
You'd have the greatest herb right here for motion sickness and nausea right here.
You mean you get a rocky plane flight or something?
Oh, in double-blind studies, this has been proven to be stronger than any motion sickness drug on the market. This old herbalist used to say this is the downward energy plant. meaning that when you use
Oh,
this, it
nausea
makes-
you want to throw up.
That's right. This makes
So this
things go down.
grounds
Oh,
you.
for if nausea, vomiting. I was on a plane trip across the North Atlantic coming back from teaching over in Europe. And let me tell you, it was that plane, that 747 was getting thrown around the sky like a ping pong ball. People were crying. One guy said, "We're going to die." People were throwing up in the aisles. And I was
So then
sitting
what'd
there.
you
One of the movie on
love
was
it.
Star
I know.
Wars.
It's my candy.
The
You
could just
movie
eat
was
it.
Star Wars, okay? The Star Wars movie was playing. People are throwing it up. And I'm sitting in my seat. Da 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 da. I'm feeling just fine. No panic, no puking. This moves the energy down.
But don't you do what I just did? Just like put it in your, break a piece off and put it in your
I
mouth.
eat this like it was candy.
Yeah.
Oh, you two are
Okay.
such crude herbalists. I can't believe it. Yes, that's absolutely what you
Yeah,
do.
we're a page out of the 16th century or
Yeah.
whatever. But
quit eating these. These are just for show.
You know, they crystallize. I would say for someone who's a little bit of a coward, the crystallized ginger, it's better than nothing. You can get a
It's-
really good quality. I know where to get it. And they take this and just put a little sugar around it, and it helps.
do you take
It
this on the
helps.
plane?
Take it right on the plane. This lasts a long time. Just break it off, put it in a little, wrap it with a little cloth or whatever, put it in your purse, anything. Even when it's dry, you can still chew on it. Even when it gets hard and woody,
Oh,
you can
in
still
your
chew
mouth?
on it. The oils are in it, sure.
Well, isn't this why a lot of people, if they have an upset stomach, they don't know this, now they will, but ginger ale. They'll say ginger ale will settle my stomach.
Ginger ale
The
used to
same
have
reason?
ginger in it.
Oh,
Root
doesn't it
beer
anymore?
used to be made with roots. That's where these names came from. But unfortunately, now you got sugar, caramel coloring.
So go back. Go back to
carbonated
where it
water.
started.
Now they can
Yeah,
do
go back
this.
to this is what worked.
Yeah.
All you have left now is the name,
Right.
but the herbs are gone. Okay.
next?
Where do we go from here?
We're going to have a few herbs in each category, but the second most important herb to have in your pocket, in your hand, is lobelia. Now, this herb is famous around the world for causing dramatic healings in this country at various times.
I thought it was just an American herb.
Oh, but it's spread
Does
all
it
over the
smell?
world. Yeah, this herb predominantly grows in this country, but all over the world, its use has become famous. This is lobelia.
This is what people call a weed.
Yes, this is a weed. In
And they
fact,
think it's very obnoxious, and they pull it
oh,
out.
some people called it puke weed. Because let me tell you about lobelia. Lobelia is the opposite of cayenne. These two right
Okay,
here,
this is a
cayenne and
charger
lobelia,
upper.
a dynamic duo. This stimulates your body, increases your blood flow, lifts you up.
Okay.
This one takes you down.
So you need to be able to go.
Oh, lobelia
ways,
is the
right?
strongest antispasmodic known. This is a powerful plant. These seed pods have over 14 known alkaloids in them, which are the strongest
But
part.
Richard, why would a family need an antispasmodic? Most people don't go into spasms.
Oh, yeah. Well, an antispasmodic also could be called a sedative.
All right, now
or
that
a
makes-
yeah, or a relaxant.
I can go for that.
But this herb is for when someone's just out of control, when they're having a fit, when they're having cramps in their muscles, when they're uptight, when they're freaking out.
Just like when they're contracting.
No, this is better
right?
than, what, Prozac or something?
Oh, absolutely. I have seen this with people with convulsions and fits and Parkinson's disease and alateral sclerosis.
I mean, you're
and
talking some
myasthenia
pretty
gravis,
heavy
serious Tourette's
diseases.
syndrome. This is the starter. This is the stopper. This is the hot. This is
You're
the
making
cold.
you're making it simple.
This
and that's
is the
a help.
blast. Hey, if it isn't simple, I don't want to do it. That's my rule. It's got to be
Okay.
simple and fun. Healing has to be simple and fun. Medicine's the one that made it scary, painful.
I
that
can
hurt you.
understand the starter
Absolutely.
stuff.
would you
This is
say-
when someone needs to stand up. This is when someone needs to sit down.
So this is like blood, and this is nerves.
That's right. Nerves and relaxation.
Yeah, and when you get
Brings
the
you
both
down.
going.
Absolutely.
Okay.
This will cool you down. So the main thing
I
it
never
does,
understood it till you explained it like
it's
that.
it's just like hydrotherapy, the hot and the cold. This will cool you down, whether someone's in the middle of the worst epileptic fit. I've had people in the middle of fits, stops it immediately.
You mean like a grand mal?
Oh, grand mal
Boom.
seizure, perfect biting the tongue, flailing around, bring them right out of it. And a steady dose of it
Miracle.
over a long period of time will keep them from having future ones. But any tremors, any nervousness, lobelia also has other great uses. Lobelia is the strongest herb for dilating the bronchial tube. So if someone can't breathe,
breathing.
emergency,
Oh, gosh.
asthma attack,
Or
emphysema.
anxiety attack.
I've had asthmatics that were drowning in their own mucus and pus in their lungs and their own fluids. When they breathed in, it sounded like they were gurgling through water. They were blue in the face. They couldn't breathe. This will take them out of it. It dilates the bronchioles on small doses, and on large doses, if you take too much, it'll make you vomit.
Isn't that?
And
that okay?
Yeah, because when you vomit, your diaphragm will contract and you will purge out the contents of all that fluid in the lungs. This used to be called asthma weed. Sometimes
That's an incredible name, asthma weed.
it's just, it is one of the greatest herbs. So here's the idea. You have the one to turn it on and the one to stop it.
And likewise, you keep
Oh,
that in the car,
if-
the trunk, the whole thing.
If I could only have two herbs, and I had two herbs alone, these are the two. You can do almost anything with these two
That's
herbs.
great.
There was an herbalist named Samuel Thompson that lived during the late 1700s and early 1800s on the East Coast. He used cayenne and lobelia almost exclusively in his practice, these two herbs, and it's estimated that 3.5 million people healed themselves on his program of turning it on and shutting it down.
Are you going to tell us now or later? This is so exciting, but I'd be scared if someone I love is having a convulsion. Is this the appropriate time or later? Like, can I hurt him putting too much in?
No.
Well, how do I know when I've given him
No.
enough? This sounds like it works instantly, the way you're talking.
I have never seen anybody hurt or maimed using herbs ever.
What would happen if she gave you some of
The
that?
worst case scenario, if you overdose on any herb, too much of it, you'll vomit. That's the worst case
Yes,
scenario.
that's it.
Now
I can live
imagine
with
that
that.
compared to the worst case scenario with brain surgery.
Flatline.
Yeah,
Oh,
imagine that
gosh.
with the worst case scenario with drugs to stop you from having seizures that we know can be lethal.
Okay.
Imagine that with the cardiac drugs that if you stop taking them, you'll die immediately, like the beta channel blockers and the calcium blockers. Imagine that with all those drugs and the surgical procedures and the shock treatment and the antispasmodic drugs and the heart drugs and the open heart surgery.
When you put it that way, I'll
Yeah.
take a good puke.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
So a little vomit is not so bad,
Or
is
if you
it?
want to be a good Samaritan, a total stranger, you can help them and not think, oh God, am I going to be in a lawsuit?
Yeah, exactly.
Richard, I'm really excited what you said on lobelia because sometimes I get so uptight I can't stand myself.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's
Yeah.
nowhere to go because I'm in me. So,
And I don't like it either.
And you know what?
Oh, okay.
I don't like it either.
oh no. So, where do I get?
Help.
Yeah, do something for me. I don't see this in the
No,
supermarket.
no, you won't. Even in gardening stores, you'll see garden varieties of lobelia, but
That
that's
blue
just
flower.
an ornamental.
No.
The Latin name for this is Lobelia inflata. Inflata is the species of lobelia. This is not the garden ground cover, and we're going to have sources in the manual where you can get
Okay.
some of
So
these.
this is a little harder to get.
That's a
hold of.
little harder
Okay.
to get. And you know, there's a couple others too. We need herbs to bring us down. Just like the cayenne is the number one, but then we have ginger. We even could have used black pepper if you
Okay.
fresh grind it. Lobelia is the number one, but there are also some wonderful other herbs to bring you down. They're not as powerful. They're not for emergency first aid use, but valerian root is famous.
Well, I've heard a lot about that.
The English drunk it for 5 years while they were being bombed during the Blitzkrieg. And that's how they could sit there with their calm nervous system while they were being bombed to death.
I mean, it
So
was.
this is like a stress?
It's a sedative. This is a powerful sedative. The
that.
root of
You mean they really
valerian.
did to get through the
Oh,
war?
absolutely. This is famous worldwide as a sedative. Here we have hops. These hops, we've talked about them. They're resinous, beautiful hops. Another great sedative. So it's important. You might even have yourself a formula for the nerves, but don't forget to have lobelia on its own.
Well, just tell me so I can in my head break them into parts.
Sure.
How is this is a sedative, and this is a sedative, and this is a sedative.
right.
Tell me a little about. They're like people. They're
That's-
different.
that's right.
Tell me how they're different so I
That's
can
right.
remember them.
Lobelia relaxes the muscles, loosens up the body, stops fits, convulsions, spasms, dilates tight muscles, dilates the bronchioles, opens everything up. Valerian is a sedative. It works similar, but it's not as powerful. Lobelia is the powerful one. Valerian is a strong sedative. You feel a great sense of well-being. You're very relaxed.
What about it? People who
If you're
are-
having an asthma attack, I haven't seen this work. This is a
Yeah,
sedative.
when would you?
Tranquilizer?
When would you?
Yes.
How about people who are in hospital or
Oh,
they
you
go
brew
to
yourself,
psychologists,
you brew yourselves
psychiatrists?
up a tea of valerian, of hops, of passion flower, and a little lobelia in there, and it's going to bring you right down. These are the nervine herbs, but I just wanted everybody to know if they're going to choose one, the first aid one, the most powerful.
Number one.
Lobelia. It's beautiful. You know, I might mention this. For years in this country, medicine said this was a dangerous plant. It could poison you or kill you.
Yeah, I remember now.
But they took one isolated alkaloid, lobeline, out of this, extracted what would be in 5 pounds of lobelia, which would be 2 bales of it, and they intravenously gave it to a rat, and it killed it. It was a dumb test. That's now how we use herbs. We never take them intravenously, and so if you take too much lobelia, nature will make you vomit.
So if we make a concentrate and stay home and inject it, it might not be good.
And that's not how to use herbs. Herbs go in through the orifice of the body, not injected. But let me tell you, in Europe, this is sold in drugstores. While we shy away from it, the English use this to save themselves from asthma and bronchial problems.
They sure need the help.
Oh, the chest colds that you get in that damp climate. So around the world, this is sold in drugstores. In this country, it's not even known about. And it grows.
But you use more than other people, don't
Oh,
you?
yeah. Well, this is important.
Because there's a lot of fear of this. Even people who use it, they tippy-toe on this one.
Yeah. You never worry. The worst case scenario with taking too much of any herbs is you're going to vomit. And the taste alone will tell you. If something tastes like a strawberry or a raspberry, your body says, I want more. If something is very bitter, it may be a tonic, and your body's saying, well, a little bit will do. It's more of a medicinal herb. The great way to tell between a nutritional and medicinal herb is one that is very strong, that you don't like the taste or flavor of. That's more one for medicine.
It tastes like medicine.
Yeah, it tastes like medicine.
Now, Richard, I don't want to take your time, but tell us how hops is different from valerian. This is a sedative.
Yes.
This is the master.
That's right. Hops is very similar. Hops is also a sedative. So one of the advantages of making an herbal formula is one herb might work better for one person than another. So if you mix valerian with hops, with a passion flower, with some lavender flowers, with some lobelia, now you have a nerve formula that'll settle everybody down.
All right.
And if you drink enough, hey, I had a friend who told me he didn't believe valerian worked. We brewed up a whole pot, and this is a prominent herbalist who writes a lot of herbal books, and he said he didn't believe it. He had 3 cups of strong valerian tea, and when he was going back to his room, he tripped over his own feet, fell flat on his head, cut his head open, and he said to me the next day, I'm a believer. I couldn't hardly walk. I've had patients use lobelia in this, and they tell me it feels like their body has been paralyzed. You sit in a chair, you use these herbs, it'll make you one with the couch.
Well, would you
Okay.
say
Like
that
that.
this combination, making these formulas, sounds so good because it sounds like you're saying it calms your body and it calms your mind.
Yeah,
And when,
absolutely.
you know,
See, what Samuel
they're not
Thompson knew
separate.
is these herbs, they'll dilate the bronchioles, they'll loosen everything up and make it easy and loose, and then this herb will blast the blood right through those organs.
Through those loosened
That's
up
right, that's right.
blood
So he
vessels.
knew the idea was to loosen up the tissue and stop the spasm and open up and then blast through and stimulate with the cayenne. And just those 2 herbs right here, everybody who's watching this needs both of these
sounds like
in their house.
life.
That's right.
This is life.
That's right.
Sandy, I like what he's saying on this because today, like, sedation is like a dirty word. It's like you want drugs, you know. But I think that's a part of life. You get uptight.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
there's nothing wrong or it's okay.
Or you
No,
get bad news.
Why do
Yeah.
you think these things are here? So we can just mow them down? I mean, why have we been blessed with this growing naturally on this planet? Why is it out our backyard? Is it just for the pretty colors? These are the medicine that I believe has been provided for us by God and nature.
I do
It's
too.
ours to use.
So that we don't
Unfortunate-
suffer during different
Yeah.
periods in our lives. Yeah.
Unfortunately, the doctors have educated us to be afraid of what God has blessed us
No,
with.
trust them.
Oh, yeah. Trust a chemical house. Trust a pharmacy. Trust a knife.
'Cause they
Trust
care.
Oh, yeah, they care. But don't you dare go outside
You could
and,
kill
and
yourself.
use your blessing. Oh, yeah, this is nature. It's dirty. It's dangerous.
Okay.
And that's
agree.
that's my job, is to educate my patients that this is not radical. Brain surgery is radical. Okay, open heart surgery is radical. This is what we're supposed to be using, and it's what all our ancestors
Well,
used.
you travel a lot, and I remember great stories you've told Sam and I. You go to these more, I would say, we call them primitive.
Sure.
I think they're pretty wise.
Yeah.
And you tell us stories about how they're obviously using things in nature that God has given them, and you said they seem like happy.
Oh.
They don't have the stress.
This
we
big lie
have.
that medicine tells us that Americans have the greatest longevity is such a lie. You know, all my patients that lived in this country, they were sick in 40s and their 50s, and their parents in their 80s and 90s in Russia or Africa or China were still feeling great because they had simple lives and they used their herbs for medicine. It's our job to get people back to using the safe, healing things here. You use these, you'll never need major medicine at all.
And you don't
Okay.
need to have much money.
That's right, that's right. It costs you
That
about
could be a
$1 for 100
But
seeds.
some people don't have health insurance
That's
today,
right,
or
that's
they
right.
don't want
You
it.
won't need it.
I prefer
I
families
don't
in
have it.
America having this.
Third group, everybody has to have in their house something for infection, okay? Because infection is
Okay.
normal. Viruses, bacteria, fungus, any type of infection, there's the #1 herb in the world, bar none, no matter what anybody says about their favorite, you got it right here. Garlic is the most potent antiviral,
I won't kiss you before I do that.
antifungal, antibacterial, anything that can hurt you. Garlic
But is
will
it
kill
real?
it.
I've heard that. You know, you get the flyers in the health food stores, the anti. But is it really that strong?
It is
Or
stronger.
when you get an infection that's a heavy-duty one, do you really got to head in that car for the ER?
There is research all over the world. Half of the research on garlic has been done on garlic and cancer. Garlic is an absolute killer and antidote for cancer. If you had one herb, here it is right here. Garlic destroys bacteria, fungus. Garlic breaks down tumors. Garlic helps with cancer pain. And this is university medical research all over the world. Okay, garlic equalizes blood pressure. If you have high blood pressure, it'll bring it down. If you have low blood pressure, it'll bring it up. This is the greatest heart herb. It'll
And there's
reduce-
no, I want to point, there's no drug that goes like both ways like that.
Oh, no.
Usually they bring it up or they bring it
You can't make
down.
a drug that'll, nature works synergistically with your body. Herbs are balancers. Medicines force your body to do
Only
something.
one way, yeah.
Oh, this will lower your cholesterol level. I've had patients, I dropped them dramatically with garlic. It's an official drug in many countries of the world.
Richard,
just for
what if
that.
Sandy and I, how much should we have at home? We've been a
Well-
little confused on that. We don't want to take enough and kind of play around and never get
Yeah.
these benefits
No.
that you say we could have.
As a general health use, we have to be like the Spartans of Rome and Greece.
I think we have to eat it every day, honey.
How much?
Every day.
How much? I'm
Yeah.
confused.
I mean, isn't that the
You start with one clove, chop it up, and see how you feel with that. Remember, if you're not ill, if you're looking for general health, work your way into these. Start with a clove, work yourself
Okay.
up to a clove or two a day. That's fine. And if you want to skip a few days, hey, there's no rules. There isn't a better herb that I know of for fighting infection and keeping you
But
strong
no
and
elephant
healthy.
garlic, right?
No, elephant garlic is a hybrid between garlics and onions, and it's weaker. You need to get good garlic. And garlic lasts. You can have it in your house. Forget the garlic preparations. Forget the garlic oils. Forget anything of garlic in the health food store. Just go out and make sure you always have your garlic in the house.
Richard, I just start taking another one for trips. Threw it in the travel
Sure.
bag with
Why
a little
not?
knife.
Little
you know?
garlic, little ginger. Why not? Makes sense to me. You know, you can even make your own garlic oil, chop up the garlic, pour a little olive oil on that. You can even use that on fungus infections or infections. Right here, here's the other dynamic duo, echinacea. Echinacea, the greatest stimulator for your immune system. So here you have the herb that's going to kill all the bad guys. And here you have the herb that's going to charge your immune system up to kill the bad guys off naturally. This one kills the bad guys on contact. This one makes your body kill the
I
bad guys.
just remember something you taught me. It kind of comes back to me. You said that sulfur is
Yes.
big in garlic, and
Yes.
that they used to use sulfa drugs.
Medicine
And yet
has-
there's, this
Medicine
is sulfur.
use sulfur for kidney infections, for bladder infections, for infections around the body, sulfur compounds on the outside. The only problem was is it hurt people. Sulfur even killed people. This has 80 organic sulfur compounds within it. One of them is sulfuric acid. That's
Really?
why garlic can burn, and that's why a strong garlic paste we've used as surgery to burn off the skin tumors that were ready to come off. So this is
Okay.
even a natural healing surgical tool. There's nothing better to have around to kill the infection and the echinacea to boost your body up. But I call these the dynamic duo. The world thinks that echinacea and golden seal is the dynamic duo.
Right.
Golden seal as an herb for bacteria, fungus, and virus is a joke compared to garlic, an absolute joke.
We tend to overlook it because you walk by it every time you go to the
Honestly,
store. So
I
you
go
go,
grocery
big
shopping,
deal.
and you don't, unless you're here listening today, you don't understand. This is a gold mine. I mean, we talk about precious metals.
yeah.
What about
Oh,
the value?
Richard,
of
I've known you for
this?
3-4 years now, and the truth is, until last month,
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't listen.
We had a letter from a lady. I sent it to you. She was 87 years old. She had a raging viral infection in her lungs and her body, and after 9 months, the doctors couldn't stop it, and she was about to die. She read something we wrote about garlic, and she started taking her garlic, and in 3 days, the viral infection was gone, and she's still
You
alive.
remember what she took?
Yeah. 47 cloves of raw garlic a day. So when anybody starts wimping on me about garlic, I let them know that an 87-year-old lady could kick their ass when it comes to garlic dosage. You
right.
don't whip out. And if she took 47 cloves and saved her life from a killer viral infection, this is the power of garlic.
Yeah, I like to see that used on all these pneumonia patients now that they say they don't even have drugs
Did
for.
you know how many?
You
You know how many children have tonsils because had tonsillitis so bad their tonsils were touching. They were swollen up like golf balls, and I got them to start their garlic. Some of them even would swallow it in capsules. They'd put fresh garlic in a capsule and take it because they didn't like the taste. But every kid I got on garlic never had a tonsillitis problem. And I just want you to know that my 3.5-year-old son loves garlic,
Probably no
eats it
ear
all the time.
infections either, right?
Kids, yeah, no
I mean,
ear
isn't this the big
infections,
thing, ear
no
infections?
tonsillitis. This was a strengthener. It was given to the laborers who built the pyramids of Egypt. They won't even allow this in certain temples around the world.
I love to go ahead.
Not because it smells, because it gives men erections, okay? And they can't meditate when they're sitting there with a
Terrifying.
boner, okay?
You want to take a bulb?
There you go.
Okay.
Okay. This herb, we're not talking about 10 herbs here. We're talking miracle herbs, miracle
Master
categories.
herbs.
Yeah. So forget the echinacea and golden seal, echinacea and garlic.
Hey,
you should have
we
these.
can get this.
Oh, you can get
Almost
this.
everybody can grow.
The only reason I brought this one in is because
Well, what is it?
everywhere,
What is this?
is plantain, and this is called Plantago lanceolata or lance leaf plantain.
This grows in people's lawns.
How about everybody's lawn in the world? Okay.
I recognize that that's what they make weed killers for.
Everywhere I have traveled in the world, except some of the most worst desert areas, there's plantain. It's in India, it's in China, it's in Africa, it's in Central America. It's,
So they say they can't get it,
it's
go to the
growing
park,
through
right?
the runways at most airports
right.
that I travel to. It's
Yes.
in between the tracks at the train station.
And this is a little lowly looking thing. This
Yeah,
is-
it's just a lowly little plant.
But
It
it's-
also can have a round leaf. The key to recognizing it is these long lateral
Band.
parallel veins. But everybody knows that plantain, it brings these seed stalks up. This is
yeah.
plantain. Plantain is not in this category, but you can mix it up in a blender and use it on the skin for a poultice. It will destroy the infection and pull out bad, like blood poisoning. You can drink the juice to detox. It is an anti-infective herb and an immune-boosting herb.
But it actually pulls like even blood poisoning. or
Oh,
something?
yeah. When you have an infected wound, if you have a bee sting or a wasp bite or a mosquito bite, the Indians used to just take a leaf, chew it up into a paste, and put it right on. I've had so many letters from people and so many patients that had a bad wasp or bite sting. They chewed it up and put this on because they saw it right there, drew the poison out, never had a problem with it, no allergic
But
reaction.
I know people are thinking, wow, this is just
Yeah.
phenomenal.
You know, these simple herbs, they're right there. And here we are. Everybody can have an aloe vera cactus in their house. I don't care if they live in Alaska.
I don't think it needs a lot of light. I don't think it needs a lot of anything.
It just likes heat and dryness. It's a cactus, but it'll grow anywhere. You can hardly hurt an aloe vera, get it not to grow. Just find, you might have to buy 4 or 5 of them and put them in different areas of your house and see where they like it best.
Okay.
One might like the bathroom, one might like the heat register in the dining room, whatever.
What do you do on trips? Do you just cut it and just pack a few?
Well, aloe is a first aid herb, and what you can do is, it's best to have it fresh all around, but you
Okay.
can preserve this gel for 2 or 3 days.
All right.
You can also cut off a leaf like this and put it in a plastic bag. And the end of the leaf, this leaf's only been cut for a couple hours here.
So
and
it's
you can see
self-sealing.
it seals itself. All plants
So it
have
makes
the
its own
ability.
pouch.
Oh,
So it
absolutely.
heals, it closes
But
things.
inside here, okay, see,
Look
the
at
gel is still
that.
fresh.
Beautiful
It looks
stuff.
just like this.
Yeah.
Now this is the healer we talked about. Internally, any type of digestive disorder that's burning or irritating, from gastritis to ulcers to colitis to Crohn's disease, this herb puts the fire out.
Some ulcer and Crohn's disease can be what? Fatal even, right?
Oh,
or
absolutely.
non-curable, something
I
like
had
that?
a patient that actually, before they worked the treatment, killed themselves because of the pain and the irritation with Crohn's disease. They just thought, I don't want to live life this way. I'm in too much pain. I had a patient that was having 30 to 40 bowel movements a day with Crohn's disease who came into my office, and the doctors had already done 3 cauterizations inside their rectum
burning
to stop the
something that's
bleeding.
already
I
burning.
told her to drop her clothes. I tipped her upside down, and I filled her entire rectum with aloe vera.
You
And
mean
after
you-
she got over the shock, she looked up at me and she just went, "Oh my God, that feels good."
like you put the
I mean,
fire out.
I know this is goopy. Give me your hand.
Yes, doctor.
What does that feel like? Cool, soothing.
Yes.
I
It's
mean,
like-
it's just
You're
this,
right.
This stuff
You're
is
right.
just okay. Sorry.
No, she
But
needs
look
the
at
No, I
this.
need it.
This
Leave it
is
there.
this is nature's blessing right here. You know, a
leave
lot
it
of
on.
doctors use comfrey, and comfrey has the same chemical. A lot of natural healers use comfrey, and comfrey has the same allantoin in it, which is a cell
Okay.
pluriferant. But comfrey isn't that. This is
So this
like
makes a better dressing.
you can't buy something
So
that
Richard,
man
she
has
wants
made
to help
that comes.
heal us overnight because it's been bothering
We're
her.
going to have a miracle.
What are we going to do? We're going to put this on.
We're going to put this on,
With gauze
just
at
put it
night.
on and wrap it with gauze. When I have people with severe burns or dermatitis or anything, you just lay this right on.
That's
this,
simple.
Cover it with gel. Yeah, well, nature's, so complicated here. Wrap it with gauze. Look at this. Look at this.
It almost
And
works as
when
a
you wake
bandage.
up in the morning, this is gone, and all the gel has been absorbed right into your skin, and there's just this little fibrous membrane here. There is you don't
So
see
she
any
does
other
that
herbs here, do you?
The next day, what's her? You're going to see a difference in her
Miracle.
hand? Really?
Miracle. Guaranteed, Dr.
What about-
Schulze. Miracle with aloe vera. You leave it on all night long. Now look at this. Look at this. Look at this
That's
miracle.
great.
You can't
That's
make something like
great.
that. But do you see anything else here in this category? No replacement for aloe vera.
It's
Got to have.
Yeah.
Got to
Yeah.
have a.
This is one. Have it in your house. Buy the cactuses. Have it there. Creates miracles.